From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you had yourselves a great day. We're going into your Wednesday evening and taking a look at our weather headlines. We've got one more dry day and mild day here for tomorrow with increasing clouds and some fog out along the coast here with some low clouds and maybe even a little bit of mist out there for parts of the north coast as well. Otherwise, those showers and mountain snow flurries will return Thursday night, or really the snow showers for Thursday night through the day on Friday. And this wet weather pattern, I tell you what, it's going to stick around this weekend. And we will probably still be dealing with the wet weather pattern, unsettled, if you will, for all of next week, really. So before we go into all of that, let's take you through Krueger's Quickcast here for your Wednesday, January 29th. We start off with tonight, another cold one. Clear skies, temperatures low 30s, teens, 20s for the higher elevations. For the coast, you are seeing the low clouds and fog, so temperatures maybe not as cold there here for tomorrow morning. Now out the door tomorrow morning, there you can see, still looking at dry conditions, low clouds and some mostly cloudy skies here to start off here for the north coast, but sunny skies and increasing clouds throughout the day tomorrow. So the increasing clouds will be right here. That's what's going to be moving in our direction here as we go through the day tomorrow. This area of low pressure is also going to be moving eastward. This is essentially going to be pushing through the ridge of high pressure, and we've been under a blocking pattern for really most of January. And we're going to break through this blocking pattern and eventually start to see some rain. So let's take a look at Futurecast here. And this is just going to take you through tomorrow. There's 6 a.m. tomorrow. There you can see some of the fog we will see, especially for the coast. There are the increasing clouds we have through the day tomorrow, but still dry even at 5 o'clock. But then by Thursday night, we start to see that rain begin to push in, starting off on the coast and working its way eastward to the valley and eventually the eastern mountains, especially for Friday. The winds for tomorrow are not going to be all that bad, but we are going to start to see them increase, especially for Shasta Valley into central Siskiyou County and along the coast. Elsewhere, it won't be as bad, but the winds will start to pick up by the time we get into Friday. All right, so here's what we have in store for your Thursday. There you can see the increasing clouds. We'll call it partly cloudy. It'll start off with some high clouds, then eventually maybe some mid-level clouds. Same story for everyone else. But of course, we've got those overcast skies for most of areas along the coast here because, of course, you can see the low clouds and the fog there. So your 7-day outlook, one more dry day. And look at this. Boom. Off and on chances for rain through the weekend and most likely through next week. Snow levels will start off around 3,000 feet, but they will start to climb as we go into the weekend as we do have that warmer, more subtropical moisture moving in. Dry for everyone on Thursday, off and on chances for rain and snow taking you through the weekend and of course through at least the middle of next week, but most likely even for the end of next week as well. Well, that's a look at Krueger's Quickcast. What do you say we start off by taking a look at what you can do on your smart TV, and that is watch the free 24-hour streaming channel. It's available on all of my platforms, weathernorcal.com, the free Weather NorCal app, Fire TV. We've also got Roku. Just search for Weather NorCal in those app stores, and you've got the 24-hour streaming channel. Now, if you don't have any of those, you can go to YouTube on your smart TV, on your computer, on your phone. And the cool thing I like about YouTube is search for Weather NorCal, go there, subscribe to the channel while you're at it, watch the 24-hour streaming channel, and you can on demand watch the latest weather forecast. So check it out. Pretty cool. You can also check it out on your smart TV. All right, so let's go into that deeper dive forecast, shall we? We've got a lot to dive into. All right, so first and foremost, we still have that ridge of high pressure in place. That's going to keep us dry for tomorrow. But these clouds right here will be on the increase as they push on through, and eventually that rain and snow will push on through as well. Now, we talked about those winds picking up. is they're going to pick up through the day on Thursday, especially for the coast and for central Siskiyou County. But look at everywhere else by Friday morning. Now again, especially to the north, especially to the coast, we're beginning to see the winds pick up for the valley by 6 o'clock on Friday morning. And then they really pick up over 30 miles per hour for the valley here by noon on Friday. Winds starting to die down for the coast, but still gusty. Okay, and then we go into Friday night. The wind's still pretty breezy, gusty out there, and we may see more winds for Saturday as well. All right, so let's take a look at futurecasts here. Take a look at when that rain will start to move in. Of course, for Thursday morning, there's the fog along the coast, some of those inland valleys, increasing clouds, as I mentioned earlier. There's the rain moving in Thursday night, snow levels starting off around 3,000 to 4,000 feet. There it is, Friday morning. Look at that. This is all going to be in the form of snow around Mount Shasta City. Take a look at, let's see, right here. There's a look at Buckhorn Summit. Maybe have a hard time getting some snow there, but we may see some snow on Highway 36 west. Meanwhile, Highway 89 east of I-5, I think could see some chain requirements. And east of I-5, plenty of chain requirements over those higher elevations as well. Again, keep in mind, 3,000 to 4,000 feet. Now that colder air will be trapped, and it will rise a little bit as we go into Friday evening, about 3,500 to 4,500 feet. But another thing you'll notice, we're not seeing the rain and snow as widespread as it was earlier. So by Friday night, we're seeing a little bit of a break for many of us, and then the next round of moisture and rain coming in from the south. Now this is going to be a warmer source of air. This will really help to mix out that colder air, and that's when the snow levels will really start to climb. So how much rain can we expect at least through Friday night? Well, how about, say, a 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of rainfall for the rain-shadowed areas like Red Bluff and Willows. Chico and Redding, maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Look where most of the rain is, though. Of course, that's what we'd expect it to be, mainly along the coast. We could see upwards of an inch or more in some spots here, and yeah, once again, much less off to the north and east. Taking a look at the longer range, we're just going to take you through the weekend. This is looking at the American forecast model. So on top of what we'll see here through Friday, we're also going to be looking at this, right? We could see about an inch to maybe close to 1.5 inches in some spots here for the valley, and I think we could be approaching that 2-inch mark out towards the north and west. And quite honestly, some of these numbers may be a bit higher, especially as we go into the next couple of days and get more of those forecast model runs in. All right, let's take a look at the snow, and here we're looking at, Mount Shasta City. Could you see a 3 to maybe 6 inches of snow? It's not out of the question. Now it looks like Bernie, you'll be borderline where you've got a rain-snow mix. Fall River Mills, maybe a little bit of snow there. I think a better chance for some light accumulations around Chester and Westwood, for example, but most likely less as you head to the east of that, place like Susanville, Alturas, Quincy, and Portola. But keep in mind, we are going to be looking at that potential for some of those chain requirements east of I-5, because once you start going up above 5,000 to 6,000 feet, now you've got some heavier snow. And speaking of heavier snow, look at Mount Shasta Ski Park. Through Friday, 10 p.m., oh man, you're talking about possibly upwards of 1 foot to 2 feet of snow around the base of the ski park, and maybe a bit more than that at the summit of the ski park. I'll take it. This is just through Friday, folks. We're not including what we'll see Saturday, Sunday, and even through next week. So this is good news for the ski park. We're continuing to see the wetter than normal conditions here, better chances of that here in the longer range here. So here's your overall setup. This right here is the basic setup that we've seen through the month of January, right? Ridge of high pressure, it's been blocking any storms from coming in. So for example, with what we've seen through January, a storm like this would just butt up against the ridge, break apart, or move up and over the ridge, and we would remain dry. But look what happens as we go through the day on Thursday. That ridge is finally breaking down, pushing down to the south and east. There's that first batch of rain coming in Friday that we showed you on Futurecast. There's that little bit of a break. Here's the next atmospheric river coming right on in. Now see how it's aimed right at Northern California. Now here's where the models begin to diverge. This is looking at the GFS forecast model, the American forecast model. Look what happens as we take you through Sunday. This is going to shift to the south, and now most of the rain, and even through Monday, most of the rain is aimed at the Bay Area, Sacramento, and into the Sierra. Not so much for us. However, if we were looking at the European forecast model, this atmospheric river would still be pointed over us, giving us more rain and more snow in the mountains. So there is some of that inconsistency. We're going to have to continue to watch and monitor the forecast models, but I still have that chance for showers in there for Sunday, Monday of next week. And really, a lot of it has to do with the positioning of this area of low pressure right here. Because then as we go into Tuesday, in particular by Wednesday, this will dive down to the south. Colder air associated with this. This is going to see the flow around that. That will tap into that moisture, and then we see more rain for the middle of next week, and most likely even toward the end of next week. This is looking at Thursday. We still have plenty of moisture coming on in. All right, so here's a look at the atmospheric river tracker. And this is, pretty simple here, right? You've got the dry air. You've got the moist air right here. There's the column or the narrow band of moisture right here. Now, this is Friday. Here's the first batch of moisture coming in. Then we see it kind of aim more towards Northern California. But look where really the main tongue of moisture is, around Bay Area, Sacramento, but we're still in that column. Then by Sunday, this model pushes it to the south. By Sunday, Monday, we see less rain. But then we start to see this area of low pressure dive to the south. What that does is it takes this and then it kind of tilts this back in our direction. Now, this is really not really an atmospheric river that we're looking at right here. This is just some nice available moisture that this area of low pressure is going to tap into, and that's what's going to bring us more rain and snow. So taking a look at the atmospheric river impact, it's actually backing off. The last 24 hours, it's been kind of going well into the green here, but now it's staying in the blue. And that's good, because that means the potential for mudslides, debris flows, and minor flooding. Those chances are going to be slimmer, but we're still kind of just barely touching that. So again, when we look at these different categories, 1 all the way to 5, of course, 5 is being the strongest, 1 is the weakest. When you start getting it, so basically 1, which is where we're going to basically be during these atmospheric river events through the weekend, it's just primarily beneficial rainfall. Just good old-fashioned rain, right? But if we get into that green and atmospheric river 2, that's all it takes for us to eventually maybe see, again, that potential for some minor flooding, mudslides, debris flows, but it's minor. It's not a lot going on there. It's a balance of beneficial and some of those hazards that I was talking about. Then once you get into 3, then you start getting into better chances of that flooding and mudslides and debris flows. And of course, gusty winds too sometimes. So we take a look at the wave heights through tomorrow. They're actually not that bad. But once the storm system approaches Thursday night and Friday, we do expect to see those wave heights to increase for your Friday. All right, here's a marine forecast for your Thursday. South winds at 15 to 20 knots. Waves from the northwest at 3 feet at 12 seconds. And we've got that patchy, dense fog most likely to start off the morning hours. All right, here's what we have in store for us tonight. Temperatures once again in the upper 20s, low 30s for the valley, teens and 20s for the mountains. We've got the overcast skies, the fog along the coast, and that as a result will keep those temperatures a little bit more on the mild side, not as cold as it has been the last few mornings for the coast. Here's a look at Trinity County, starting off at 3,000 feet, and then once that second batch of moisture comes in on Saturday, you're up to 6,000 feet. So quite a rise, quite an increase in those snow levels. But for tomorrow, I do expect to see increasing clouds, temperatures in the low to mid 50s. And for your North Coast neighborhood forecast, there, of course, you can see temperatures are going to stay in the 50s. A little bit cooler, though, as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Up north, you've got, of course, the mostly cloudy skies, some fog along the coast, but increasing clouds for the inland areas. Orleans, a high of about 57, 58 for Willow Creek. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. What we're seeing here, of course, is looking at temperatures in the low 50s. We've got snow levels around 3,500 feet for Mount Shasta, and then on Saturday, you're up to 6,000 feet. So once again, those snow levels rising. 51 degrees for Canby for your Thursday, 49 for Tule Lake, and 50 out in Cedarville. All right, here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the 40s, 50s. Snow levels starting off around 4,500 feet Friday, up to 6,000 feet by Saturday and Sunday. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting. Your temperatures still in the upper 50s, increasing clouds. And then once that rain kicks in on Friday, we've got off and on chances for rain really through next week. There's a look at your 7-day forecast for Chico. Temperatures are going to drop down to the low 50s by Friday, and then as that warmer, more subtropical moisture moves in, temperatures start to increase again, and looking at a chance for showers even for your Groundhog Day. There's a look at up to the north here. Also brought to you by Walgamuth Painting with 58 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, Anderson, Cottonwood, Palisadro, 54 in Whiskeytown. And here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures dropping down quite possibly 49 degrees by Friday, getting chilly actually, but then warming back up in the mid to upper 50s and keeping that way really mainly in the mid 50s for Monday, Tuesday. Off and on chances for rain. This is what we call an unsettled weather pattern as we continue that chance for rain off and on, most likely through not only the middle of next week, but through all of next week. That's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 7 a.m. Have a great night.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth Painting.
It's Walgamuth Painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.